Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our special WrestleMania Backlash review. I'm George, aka Jonesy. We've got one heck of a review for you guys. Honestly, what a show last night. I'm so excited by this show. It was fantastic. Joined by special guest, none other than Jonesy Steve. How are you this afternoon, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good, man. As I said, I really enjoyed the show last night.
Mate, it's one of them ones where it paid off for watching it live, so fair play to you, mate. I think it was, really,
fantastic.
really good. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of talking points coming out of this review. So let us know in the comments what you thought of the show last night, whether you enjoyed it as much as we did. But let's kind of start then. So sort of going into the show then, did you have a lot of sort of excitement, expectation for the show?
Yeah, I mean, like we said last week, the card just looked solid anyway. So we was expecting good wrestling anyway. It was just the results that, unfortunately, it was kind of like you said before. It's a shame you didn't put a bet on it because, I
wish I did, man.
You'd have cleaned up because it was just, unfortunately, the results were pretty predictable. But like I said, we knew this was going to be good just from who was in it, and man, it did not disappoint one bit.
Definitely not. Going to go to the comments. Got one already. Good afternoon, Mark Aquillo. Thank you for checking that video. I hope you're well, brother. Yeah, all good over in the UK. It was a really good night last night, so I really kind of enjoyed it. But I hope you're well. Thank you for checking that video.
I'm buzzing after last night, man. Buzzing.
There's no better place to start than the kickoff show. So let's get to that. So the kickoff show, largely there's two parts of it that were really important. So the two parts of it, we'll start with the first one. We've got Dominic Mysterio backstage. He's there, sort of looks like he's getting bullied by the tag team champions at the time, the Dirty Dogs. It ends up with them sort of taking lumps on him. Next thing you know, they get some sort of sofa from a furniture store or something, and top of it on him, brutal bump, and he's there injured, selling an injury. Looks like he's not going to compete. What did you make of this spot?
They made that sofa look like it weiged a ton, and I was like, "There's no way that sofa does not weigh that much." Yeah, but it was pretty good, man. Like I said, just plays into the match later on. Just a good bit of storytelling. And to be fair, when we get into that match, it was just one of the, I was sitting there dreading it, thinking, "Man, is this just going to be a storyline that they've done before and hashed it?" But it actually worked out really well for that match.
Definitely, I agree with you. I think it was a really, really good spot that moment. I thought they'd have done that on SmackDown, so it was great to see the revenge. Obviously, the way SmackDown ended, they kind of got the one-upmanship on them, so that was a really good way. And the fact you put that tease in there that Dominic maybe had to compete, that's a further layer to the storyline, which is really, really good. Yeah,
because normally with WWE booking, it's like whoever stands tall sort of on the go-home show normally doesn't end up winning. So with both Dominic and Ray winning the last 2 weeks, you were thinking, you sort of puts a little bit of doubt in your mind, but then they had this in the kickoff show, and it sort of re-emphasizes the point of what's going to happen.
100%. We then obviously had the opening match on the kickoff show. This was a dream for me. I can't believe this happened. I was so excited by this. We had Sheamus, non-title match, open challenge. None other than Mr. Ricochet steps out. Ricochet, the king of 205 Live, has been in this regular feud with Ali on 205 that's been really, really good and no one's watching. For me, when this was announced it was Ricochet, I was really happy. I was just disappointed that they hadn't built this up, because for me, this was a pay-per-view level match. This non-title Finn's a bit strange. I'm surprised he's not defending the belt. It just seems a bit weird that it's.
Oh no, it was actually for the title on the kickoff show.
Was it actually for the title? Because I thought it was like a non-title match.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But then I was watching the showing earlier, and they actually said no, it was actually for the title last night.
Oh, okay, let's look at the match then. The match itself, really, really good. Most of the match is spent with Sheamus kind of dominating. Sheamus obviously owns Ricochet most of the match. It does end up with kind of Ricochet doing his odd spots, like some flips and stuff like that. We then end up kind of with Sheamus catching Ricochet over knee to the jaw. Ricochet obviously tries to fight back. We then get a springboard flipping splash off the ropes. Another clue's full. Then from nowhere, we get Ricochet getting hit with a bro kick. Sheamus obviously gets the win, 1, 2, 3. After the match, Ricochet gets a bit of momentum. He steals Sheamus' hat and clothes, the jacket. I don't know why. It's a bit like the angle they run on SmackDown where we got Nakamura and Baron Corbin with the crowd. It's the same type of thing.
I think this is meant to be a reference to Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather, because this is what happened the other week when them two win it, and Jake run off going, "I've got your hat," and it was just like, are they just trying to do this like social media relevancy again with this kind of crap?
Yeah, look at this. I think it was an okay way to end it. I guess that Sheamus had to win. For me, I'm hoping we're probably going to get this again tonight on Raw. I'm hoping this is a start of something. I think Ricochet's filled in for Humberto Carrillo. I think this was thrown together. I think it would have been Humberto in this spot, in all honesty, normally.
I was going to say, because Ricochet come out in just a pair of jeans, and I was like, was he not meant to be in this match? And he was just sort of a last-minute call-up? Because Ricochet not to be in ring attire for a match is really strange. And I say, yeah, he come out in black jeans, and I was like, is this sort of a emergency sort of thing that someone's had to be replaced due to injury or something? But it worked out for the best, really, because we got to see Ricochet.
100%. I want to see that again. I want to see him more. I think it's good to see him do stuff. But moving kind of forward with this, we obviously had a fantastic video package to start the pay-per-view. None other than Dave Bautista's on the narration. And we got zombies in there, which is really kind of interesting. It's a prelude of what's to come. What did you think of the opening video package? I thought it was on point.
Yeah, really,
very, very good.
Really, really good, man. Say is the way they sort of tied it in together was really clever, and the way they done it as well. But yeah, man, to say it was just a really good opening package for a change, and it's nice to have Batista on. Like, even if it's just doing narration for an intro, it's still really good.
He's a really good narrator. I think he really added to it as well. I think it made it seem bigger than it was.
Absolutely.
Definitely going to go to the comments. Got a couple in here. Don Mills. It was obvious that Dominic was going to come out halfway through the match. Good afternoon, Don. Thank you for checking out the live stream. Appreciate your comment. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. I think this was the time the series had to win, so we get that. Got another one here from Mike Carrillo. Thank you, Mike, for your comment. No offense to WWE, but what was the point of making that backstage beatdown to Dominic if they were going to win? I guess they did a Daniel Bryan move.
It just makes it makes the win look more important if you've got a 2-on-1 handicap match for a duration of time, and then the partner comes in beat up, and it just makes the win look more special.
Definitely. We then obviously had our first match of the night on the main show. We've got the Women's Championship on the Raw side. Rhea Ripley against Asuka, Charlotte Flair. What an incredible match. This match was superb. Probably the best Charlotte Flair match I've seen in a very long time. It was really, really exciting. You never knew kind of which way it was going to go. And Rhea Ripley finally shows why she's the women's champion, why she deserves to have that belt. What did you think of the match?
Mate, this match was fantastic. I mean, Charlotte coming out in that Cruella de Vil looking outfit as well to start off was like, oh man, she just looks amazing. But yeah, just this is what I was saying the other day to you, that she was the missing factor from their Mania match. And it proved the point because, man, this match was fantastic. Some of the stuff they were doing. So you had the Charlotte's moonsault that she can pull off that top rope. But man, I'll tell you what, it's one of the most perfect moonsaults I've seen people do. Her double, what did she do? Natural selection when she comes off the rope and does it to both of them. Oh, just immense, man. This match was just fantastic all the way through. The trash talking between Rhea and Charlotte at the start when she was like, go on, you go off the ropes. You tackle me and see what happens. Man, just fantastic, man, all the way.
I just think it told a really good tale. Like, you never know which way it was going to kind of go. Asuka did a very good part. Crucially, we do end up with, it looks like Charlotte's obviously going to get the momentum. From nowhere, we get Rhea Ripley hitting the Riptide on Asuka. Asuka gets pinned. This is the right decision. This is going to lead, obviously, to Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, we think, at Hell in a Cell. So it's the right move. Charlotte didn't lose any momentum in this. Asuka got pinned, which is understandable. And this was exactly the right kind of way to end the match. I thought it was so good. It over-delivered. I knew it'd be good, but this was far better than what I've seen in the singles matches we've seen on Raw recently.
I was expecting Alexa Bliss to be involved in this because I'm still confused as to who she's meant to be stalking. I mean, I was watching a video earlier and some people saying that Charlotte was pulling off these sort of demonic poses while she was standing in the ring.
Oh, okay. I can't see that. I can't see the
yeah, and it was just like, I just thought I thought it was going to be Alexa Bliss and Charlotte going forward, but like I said, it'd be fun to see where it goes. Who next for Rhea? If it's not Charlotte, I don't know, because there's not exactly a big heel unless they take Nia or Shayna and turn one of them as the next challenger for it. It'd be interesting to see where it goes.
Definitely going to go to the comments. Got quite a few here. Don Mills. It was like when Austin beat down in the Royal Rumble night and came back and won it. Talk about Dom Mysterio. Yeah, I agree. I think the fans would have popped if there were fans there, 100%. I think that's a great comparison. Obviously, Stone Cold Steve Austin, totally different level altogether, a tier of quality, but I agree. Got a great one here for Review Geek 3000. That's a great channel. Please, everyone, check it out. Hi, Jonesy Chats Wrestling, spot on video, man. Normally, I'd do a review, but I've been ill for a fortnight, so it's hard to put one up. Get well soon. Please put your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure you've got a really good sort of opinion of it. You're generally spot on with what you say, so hope you get well soon. Anyway, thank you for your comment and checking out that video. We've got a great one here from Dom as well. I thought it was lazy how they got Charlotte in the ring for Ripley to hit the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there was a slight awkwardness about that because they were saying that there would have enough time for Charlotte to get back in the ring to break that count. But like I said, the fact that they kept her out of shot, I suppose, was to try and cover that. But yeah, it was the right decision anyway. Rhea needed to win this match more than Charlotte did.
Definitely. We're going to move forward then. So obviously we had a couple of backstage segments. We've got one there with The Miz and John Morrison. The Miz basically asked John Morrison to find out who the Lumberjacks are. That's a prelude, obviously, to what's going to kind of come next, if that makes sense. We then obviously had one where we've got also sort of one backstage where we've also got Dominic Mysterio. Rey Mysterio and Dominic are talking. It looks like Dominic can't be competed. This is further carrying on what we saw in the pre-show. What did you think of the segments?
Well, what did you have? You had the Bobby video, them arriving, nothing really much.
Yeah, I disregarded that one, really.
The fact that Morrison's trying to sort of blackmail the Lumberjacks, I thought was really good. It's just like I want to see this split happen now because this needs to be the next feud with Miz and Morrison going forward. And as for the recap, it's just a recap, man. And it's just basically in case you missed the kickoff show, which a lot of people tend to do.
Definitely. We've got this SmackDown Tag Team Championship, so it's Dirty Dogs defending the belt against Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Obviously, this is a SmackDown WrestleMania rematch. For me, really, really good match. Although it was Rey Mysterio getting beaten up for most of the match, he took a large amount of the offense. It ends up sort of him kicking out on absolutely everything. We do get Dominic Mysterio come out, and then crucially, obviously, what happens is Dominic Mysterio is able to sort of get the pinfall. So for me, this was a really good result. It's great to see the Mysterios finally get the belts. We need a new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. This feels fresh. Great emotion, obviously, when they got the belts. And I love the story it told. For me, I love the Frog Splash. I think it's a great throwback to Eddie Guerrero and the history of Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic, going back to the early 90s, if that was, or late 90s, if that makes sense. What did you make of this match and the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions?
Well, I was irritated to start off with because, in fact, it was Ziggler and Rude. And it was like, let me look at something quickly. And it was, we got Bobby hasn't been in a pay-per-view since last March. A televised match in a pay-per-view since last March, and he was in Survivor Series as a dark match. And then you had Ziggler, aside from the Rumble, hasn't been on one since Extreme Rules since last July, and they've made barely minimal amount of appearances as tag team champions. So now, hopefully, that it's on the Mysterios that we're going to actually see these tag team titles on TV more often, rather than just backstage segments and just like matches thrown out of somewhere. But the match, I was kind of 50-50 in places. Like, yes, it was a really good match, but at some points I would have preferred Rey to have been the injured one, just to make Dominic look a bit more strong, for him to take a 2-on-1, rather than Rey, who's the veteran, where you're supposed to be building Dom, who's like supposed to be your next like baby face in the company and this kind of stuff. But then it worked out well because I say it's Dominic that ends up getting the win. I mean, like, every time they got a hot tag, the hot tags were just like blown out straight away. So it kind of evened itself out in the end. But yeah, otherwise a really, really fantastic match. I mean, the bits where Dom counters Ziggler's super kick with a super kick, man. It's just really good stuff, man.
It was really, really good. I think it just needed a crowd. If there was a crowd there, I think it would have done it. For me, they should have done this at WrestleMania, really, as an overall match rather than just here. But it's great to get new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I've just got to hope it's not the Usos they face. If they're in a program of the Usos, then belts aren't going to be long on the Mysterios, that's for sure.
That's the only thing, I mean, just to add another side note to it, just the fact that obviously the whole Rey just didn't want to tag Dom in, and the fact that when Rey got into the corner, Dom tagged himself in, man, just it made it better than what would have just been a normal hot tag. And it was just, man, it's just really, really good stuff, and it was shocking to see how good this stuff is.
100%. So we obviously had a fun backstage segment. We got John Morrison backstage. He says the door of lumberjacks. He then walks in. He realizes that it's sort of zombies out. He looks absolutely terrified. So he comes out the room. Comedy gold. I really kind of enjoyed it. We then obviously get a fun backstage segment. Another one. We've got Jimmy Uso. He's in the hallway with Jey Uso. He basically says that Jey Uso is the bitch again, as always. It does end up kind of with tension again. Jimmy wishes Roman good luck because he's going to need it. Roman looks like really disappointed with Jimmy, which is understandable. He kind of looks at him as like a small child who's just done something naughty, if that makes sense. That's kind of what he's looking at. We then obviously have another fun backstage segment. We've got John Morrison and Miz. Morrison says to Miz about the zombies. Miz goes, "I don't want any more of your new age nonsense," or something like that, which was just absolutely brilliant. I love the partnership between them in that respect. It's just so much fun. What did you think of all these promos?
Mate, the zombie thing, I was dying as soon as he opened the door, and I was like, that's a bit of a strange like door to have as a locker room, because it was like a numeric pad on it. And I was like, oh, now I can see why there's a numeric pad on it if it's full of zombies. And the fact they had a zombie Elvis, man, oh man, it was great. The Jey and Jimmy stuff, really, really good, man. I'd say where it's like, because obviously you've got Jimmy wants to go for these tag titles again, and Jay's just like, no, I'm content being Roman's right hand man. And it's just, it's this really good stuff. Where I'm excited to see where it's going to go, because I want to know if Jimmy's going to cost Roman the title, if Jay's going to cost Roman the title. Just what's going to happen is a dynamic between these three.
Definitely. Sort of, let's go to the comments then before we go into this lumberjack match. So, Ryan Awesome, thank you for commenting, Ryan. I hope you're well. Appreciate you checking it out. Hello, Awesome. I thought the show was decent with some great matches. I was not a fan of the lumberjack match, but Reigns Cesaro match was the only match I cared for. It's a very fair point. I think it's the match they built up best. The lumberjacks match is questionable. There's a lot of mixed opinion. We're going to have a mixed opinion on this podcast. So let's get to that. I got a good one here for Review Geek 3000. Thanks to shout, brother. I thought Rey Mysterio was a good result. They showed a lot of heart and emotion in the match upon winning the titles. I think so. I think it was good. I don't think it was as much emotion as Tamina winning the belt on SmackDown. I don't think it was that kind of emotion, but it was still nice to see them get that feel-good payoff really at last. Which,
again, this relates into what I said before you, that the reason why Tamina and Natalya won them tag titles, because the crowd reaction at Mania, they saw Tamina had a buzz about her and pushed her and gave her these tag team titles. And this is what I'm saying. This is why you need fans back as soon as possible, because we can't be dealing with WWE just pumping in boos and cheers to tell us who to boo and chant when it's taken her 11 years to win a women's title. Like, forget the 24/7 championship. It's taken her 11 years. And I've been saying for 2 or 3 years now that Tamina finally deserves to win something, man. And it just, like I said, thanks to that crowd at WrestleMania, she's finally won something.
Definitely. So let's talk about this lumberjack match. So obviously we're back inside the Thunderdome. We've got Adnan Virk there with Graves and Saxton. The Miz's theme hits. John Morrison fits him. Just as the music kind of dies down, we get Damian Priest there. Next thing you know, we kind of get zombies coming out. It ends up with kind of Miz stuck in the room with Priest with the zombies. The best thing of all, this is the best thing of all. I got to say it. I think it was Corey Graves. He came out of the one-liner. Don't worry, this isn't ECW, folks. About the zombies, which I just thought was proper comedy.
He was dropping loads of zombie film references. I mean, at one point, I think he was dropping Walking Dead and saying Miz is crying under the ring looking for Lucille, which is obviously the baseball bat. He was dropping like What Night of the Living Dead. Oh man, it was just his commentary was fantastic on this.
So obviously we had the match. The zombies kind of come out. The commentators do a runner. The match for me, it was okay. It was probably about average what we've seen of Miz and Damian Priest on Raw. I just think the zombie film was a bit over the top. When I look at it like this, for me, it just was a bit silly. I get they got this time. They probably got paid a load of $1 million for this Army of the Dead movie, but it made kind of no sense. I think the fact with it is there are some fun spots. You've got Damian Priest and Miz kind of fighting off together, teaming up against the zombies. I think my favourite part was probably the end of the match, near the end of the match, where we've got John Morrison kind of doing these flips off the barricade. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But the selling of some of these zombies was absolutely brilliant. We can identify that these were WWE Performance Star Center wrestlers. So there are a couple we know. So the wrestlers for note, if anyone wants to know the identities of them, there's one called Joe Gacy. He used to be in CZW. An interesting note, he was the guy, if you remember Retribution when they debuted back on SmackDown a while ago, he was the guy with the chainsaw that cut up the ring that they never did anything with. We also had the son of Wayne Bloom, one of the Beverly brothers, he was there as well. And also had Asher Hell and a few others. But great to see people.
Asher Hell recently debuted on NXT. So, yeah.
Great to see a few people get a payout, if no doubt, or at least get some time on camera. But for me, I was looking forward to seeing people such as Mustafa Ali on camera. I thought they need the spot far better. But I wasn't a fan of Lumberjack Finn. The match was okay itself. It's great to see Damian Priest get the win. He had to win. But the fact you got Miz and Morrison get surrounded by zombies at the end, this is going nowhere. I've got one theory for you, Steve. Imagine if it was Lily controlling zombies. Could this get even worse?
See, you're making it interesting. But this is why I loved it, because I did not care for this match whatsoever. And the fact that you turn around and gone, we're getting zombie lumberjacks. Oh, mate, I'm all for this, man. I was all for it. I laughed. I barely rolled the whole way through this, man. I just thought it was great. For as corny as it was, I just thought as a break between sort of after two really good matches to have a nice little just like a funny segment, man, because it was basically just was a comedy segment. But to say, hopefully, this is the end of this rivalry now. No more Priest and Miz, and man, just move on to the next thing. That's my only issue. My only one issue with it was sort of two things really. It was right at the end. You got Miz in the ring. The zombies all pile on top of him, but they just lay on top of him. There's no sort of motion or animation to say they're eating him. And then you got Priest doing his arrow thing, and then it just pops up Army of the Dead on the screen above the ring. And I was like, that's a bit cheesy. But apart from it, man, I loved it, man. I thought it was great.
I've got a question for you. Obviously, you watch NXT for us on the site every single week. What was better, the Dexter Lumis zombies or this, would you say?
I'd probably have to say, well, I don't know, because it was really hard, because the aesthetic of the ring with this was really good. Like they got rid of the crowd, they made it look like a barren wasteland town, and they added smoke around the outside of the ring. The Dexter Lumis one will go down as a better one because of the theme, because it was Halloween Havoc, and it more tied in more with, say, the theme of the pay-per-view and everything. But just like I said, at least they didn't just put 10 zombies or however many around a ring and just kept it lit like a normal thing.
It's kind of interesting as it goes somewhere.
They actually tried to make it look half decent. I mean, I'm not being funny. The aesthetic is something you would expect like Bray Wyatt to have when he has a match. And so I just really enjoyed it, man. I laughed the whole way through.
I thought it was funny. It definitely made it more entertaining. I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying,
quickly, one last kind of thing with this then. I think the overall outcome of this as well, which I think needs to happen, I think this needs to lead to Miz and Morrison splitting. I think there needs to be tension on Raw tonight. You wasn't there for me. You couldn't protect me, etc., etc. I think that really needs to kind of be played up. Really, this is a great way to split them up off the back of this. We're not going to get Zombie Miz.
We're going to get Zombie Miz or Zombie Morrison.
Not anyway. I think it would work.
Oh man, that would just be great.
Good comedy. John Morrison could pull it off, I think. Definitely, he's got the charisma. But going to quickly go to the comments. All I would ask, if anybody's watching the video that's enjoying it, please leave us a thumbs up. It means the world to get a thumbs up. It just really helps the channel. Let's go to the comments. We've got a good one here. Michael, this part of the show had me dead to the point of asking, what does wrestling entertainment actually mean? It's a fair point. The thing is, we've been kind of used to this with the Alexa Lily type thing of the stupidity and stuff like that. But it was far more entertaining, I would say, than the just Miz and Damian Priest.
That's the whole reason.
Or the Miz and Morrison facing Priest, where Miz is rolling around with no clothes on. It's far more entertaining than that, I would say, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. It actually made me care for the match because I just found it so funny. Like, yes, I know it's a joke and they're getting paid to do it, but it made me care about the match just because I laughed. And it was like it broke. It was just that little break that you need to have before with them two serious matches. This little sort of comedy gimmick match, and then to get into the more serious wrestling after, man.
We got some fantastic comments here. Some of these, this next one could be comment of the night. I think this is an excellent comment. West Coast Podcast, thanks for checking the video. I hope you're well, guys. Wonder what this match would have been like if the pay was sponsored by the Snickers, Zax. Yeah, it would have been Willy Wonka, probably. And Oompa Loompas around the ring.
Lions and all that kind of stuff around as well. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, sorry, Snickers, not what I'm talking about lions for. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's the same thing, kind of.
Yeah.
Got a good one from Mike Carrillo. I honestly was surprised we didn't see a Canadian Destroyer from the Zombie.
It's amazing the Zombies knew the rules of a lumberjack match because at no point did they enter the ring until after the bell had rung.
Definitely. For me, I don't know if I was thinking this has been. Imagine if we ignore the monetary side of the value of costs, I was hoping we'd see Bad Bunny come in and save the day and kind of get rid of the zombies and play on that. But obviously, because of the cost to bring him in, it was probably never going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately not. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man, just for what it was.
Definitely. Going to keep going with the comments before we move forward. Ryan, awesome. Now this feud's over, I want to see Priest go over the United States title or WWE title. Yeah, 100% agree, my man. I think he's quality. He deserves to be up there, pushed.
Yeah, US title, I imagine, will be next for him.
Definitely. Martin Carrillo again with another great comment. You guys forgot to mention that Lee was actually controlling the WWE Thunderdome during this match. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, definitely.
Lily made her do it, though.
And our last two comments before we move forward. Geek 3000, thank you for comment again. Haha, was a funny segment. As the comments was on point, I was actually hoping they pulled out the seal. They should get some tension now. They should split up now. Yeah, exactly what we kind of said.
Just the fact that there was one under the commentary desk just as they started, and I was like, "Oh man, it's so cheesy, but it's so funny, man."
Don Mills makes a good point. This is on point. This was purely to plug a film, though, which I get. It was all about the film. The film
was a paid sponsorship for it.
Definitely, as long as Damian Priest does something with it, at least he wasn't losing now.
And the fact that Batista dropped a hint like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry I won't be there tonight, but I'll send a couple of my friends that way," and it was like. Okay, so it kind of ruined the surprise, apparently, because he tweeted that hours before the show.
Definitely. So let's kind of move forward. So then we got a commercial. We got an advertisement that Hell in a Cell's the next pay-per-view. They've moved Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is obviously going to be sort of in July with fans, which is a positive. It'd be great to see fans there. What do you make of Hell in a Cell being moved forward? Were you happy with this or disappointed? Or
makes all the sense in the world. Just for the fact that I think Money in the Bank is a better pay-per-view to have a live crowd for than Hell in a Cell, because Hell in a Cell you're just playing to for the sake of a gimmick, and it's like for the whole way through the show. But Money in the Bank, I just think the fact that you're going to have more than one or two competitors in a ring at any time, it just makes more sense for them to swap the calendar around.
Definitely. We're going to go for this SmackDown Women's Championship next. We've got Bayley against Bianca Belair. Bayley, obviously one of the first ever Women's Grand Slam champions of WWE history, against Bianca Belair on her first defense. For me, this was an okay match. It never really kind of got going to the point of what we'd seen before. Didn't really kind of work. I don't know whether it was because I was all zombied out beforehand, but for me, it was okay. Crucially, we do get Bianca Belair getting the win. Bianca Belair gets the win with the ponytail and retains the belt. It was the right result. And for me, I wonder if it's leading to hair versus hair eventually. I think that's maybe the route they'll go down. I don't know if it'll be something they'll do so soon. What do you think of the match?
I thought the match was really good. I thought it was really good right up until the pinfall, because I said where she had the hair tied around Bayley's foot and she let it slip, and then like she still got the pinfall, but it was like you just that one slight botch in what I thought was a really, really good match. The fact that Bianca didn't use her hair as a weapon as well, I think is great as well, because obviously where we hadn't seen it for so long, and then at Mania, she pops that thing out and uses it on Sasha. It should be one of them things where Bianca only has to use it in extreme circumstances as a last minute, make it special, like getting the sort of the demon from Finn Balor, just make it sort of unless she turns heel, then by all means, if she turns heel, she should be using it every week just to make herself an even bigger heel. My only other issue is why do they make every heel have a stupid evil laugh? Like Bailey come out and she was doing this, dropping this evil laugh, and I'm like, why? You did this with Sasha, you're now doing it with Bailey. It's terrible, man. Get rid of it. It's a bad thing for them. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed it. The ref giving warnings though, like it's a boxing match. That was the only other thing that confused me. Because it was like, yeah, Bailey's using the ropes to try and get a pinfall, and he's like, oh yeah, one warning for Bailey, and I'm like, what do you mean one warning? This ain't a boxing match.
Definitely. As I said, I thought it was a really, really kind of good match. I think it kind of was very hard to sort of compete with what we'd seen already on the show. Like the women's job for Ellie was probably a bit better, but really, really good. The right result was there. Interesting to see where they go kind of next for this. Going to quickly go to the comments. We got 2 good comments here from Dom. Thank you for your comments. I thought it was a decent match. Yeah, as Steve said, I agree. I think it was it wasn't a bad match. And the laugh was so cringy. That's Bailey's gimmick, though. That's what she's there to annoy you. So that's
I get it, but yeah, it's just why does every heel have to have one though? Do you know what I mean?
It's basic basic heel etiquette.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Why, basically, just to
a
try and get
stupid evil laugh. Yeah, I get it.
So let's get into this men's triple threat match, WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley defending against Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman. Wow, this match was absolutely incredible. It blew my expectations away. Going in based on what we'd seen on Raw recently, I thought it would be okay, but this match for me was absolutely superb. My probably favourite moment of the match was a flashback to Backlash 2007, where we had sort of Bobby Lashley get thrown through the electricity board and then just sort of disappear. There was loads of pyro. That's how to do an explosion, AEW. That is how to do an explosion. I'm sorry. That was such a superb moment. We obviously had a load of other bits. It was loads of hard hitting. Crucially, we do end up with Bobby Lashley hitting a spear on Strowman to get the pin. So Lashley wins. He retains. And for me, it was the right move. Drew wasn't getting pinned, which is fine. Loads of "this is awesome" charts throughout the match as well. And I think this was one of the best triple threat matches I've seen in ages in WWE. What did you think?
Yeah, like it starts off. Someone actually finally mentioned how Bobby lost the US Championship. Like they actually finally mentioned why Bobby lost it in a triple threat, blah, blah, blah. Like I hadn't heard anyone talk about it in weeks, to be fair. But it was just nice to actually someone call it back and bring it into relevancy within the story. You remember what I said to you the other day about WWE forcing this goddamn Scottish thing down our throat with Drew McIntyre? Yep. Guess who was the only one that got announced from where they were from?
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre. From here, Scotland. But the other two, I don't know where they're from. But oh man, yeah, that just irritated me. But yeah, the match otherwise, fantastic. Like it's been a long time since I've seen Braun have a really good match that I can sit there and go, yeah, I'd quite happily watch that again. I mean, the double suplex that Drew and Bobby pull off on Braun to start with, man,
that was a good thing.
That was immense. And it's just big beefy guys doing big moves. Drew hitting that Michinoku driver on Braun just out of nowhere made him look like he didn't weigh anything, man. Just fantastic stuff. Like I said, just unbelievable.
I think the powerbomb where Braun gave it to Drew for the table, I think that was an incredible spot as well.
Yeah, the Claymore reversal, it was great, man.
I think a really, really good match, really impressive for me. Crucial, I think this is going to be Hell in a Cell, Bobby versus Drew. I think that's the route we're going to go down next, which may be right, something a bit different. I think my only thing with this is I was quite hoping we would have seen Mason T-Bar get involved because that was obviously a storyline. It's only a small thing, but Bobby gets the win. It's probably the right result. 100% he had to win, so I was happy with it. The match, as I said, was really, really fun. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No, I personally, I thought I'd like to keep Drew away from this title now because we've seen it so many times now. We've seen it in Mania, we've seen it now. To run it through Hell in a Cell. I'd not be fun. I'd like to actually see Bray Wyatt come back, and even if Bray Wyatt's going to take a lose, Hell in a Cell kind of makes all the sense in the world for Bray Wyatt. I think that's why I would go with it. But apart from that, it's just really good. That had a bit of the title broke off because there's Bobby standing there at the end of it. One of the red bits fell off, and I was like, "Oh, them things are expensive."
There is an interesting. MVP said he's got something special for Bobby. I think he said that at some point during the show, one of the backstage segments or something. So I think there's going to be a new title for Bobby tonight on Raw. That's what I predict.
Well, that sounds good because of an almighty championship. Yeah, man, that sounds wicked.
I think the thing with it is if it isn't sort of Bobby versus Drew, they haven't got a lot of options unless they're going to go to Braun versus Bobby, which I don't think they'll do based on that finish, basically.
No way. But with Braun taking the pinfall, there's no way I can see him being involved in this coming Hell in a Cell. But yeah, I just think it's time to move Drew away now from this main event scene. Just give him a break for a little while and just let someone else have an opportunity. Just someone else that can eat a loss. Like, I'm not funny, Bray Wyatt can eat a loss. It's not like his character is exactly title driven. Is with him, it's just more about his character. This is why I said Bray for the Hell in a Cell, just because of the aesthetic of the pay-per-view and all this kind of stuff. It would make more sense to me.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be something different if they do it, definitely. I'm going to say last comment I've got to make on it as well. Praise to WWE even. I think the rebuilding of Braun Strowman since Slimegate and WrestleMania they've done a superb job with this month getting me interested in Braun again. This Braun feels like the Braun we once know, even though he's losing, he feels so much more interesting now than what we saw against Shane McMahon. It's got to be said. Well done, WWE.
Just a complete turnaround on Braun. Like I say, people were sick of seeing him before Mania with Shane McMahon. But yeah, they've turned the real corner with him. Got rid of that stupid train noise when he runs around the outside of the ring, everything. Make him look like a credible wrestler.
Definitely. I'm going to go to the comments. We've got Carmella is next with the evil laugh, I think. I get that. That's probably a good shout. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe it might be Evolution when she debuts, maybe. That'd probably be it.
She's meant to be a babyface, apparently.
I did hear a different story to that, which I'll get to. Let me get these comments done.
Yeah, go for
I'll
it.
get this story I heard on Evolution. I'll get that up just while we're talking on the subject of it. Ryan Olsen, Dory title match was fun. Agree, Ryan. Thank you for your comment. Martin Carrillo, I'm 100% sure they changed Hell in a Cell to next month because they still got WrestleMania feuds to finish. We might get Miz versus Priest in a Hell in a Cell Zombies inside the match.
No.
No more Miz and Priest. We've done that. Priest needs to go off and do something on his own, I think. Definitely. Review Geek 3000. This was a superb match and no one anticipated to be a decent match, but this was a decent result. Impressive Claymore reversal.
Yeah, that's the powerbomb onto the table. Yeah, it was great, man.
Spot. And Ryan also send Drew after Sheamus. Yeah, maybe. The thing is, if Drew gets this United States title, he's not going to drop it for a while, is he? Let's be fair. If it's non-title, it could be something, but I think they've done Drew and Sheamus to death, really. They did it quite a lot in the early part of the year, sort of going into... It was a Payback, wasn't it? They did that match, if I'm not mistaken. They did it sort of early in the year.
Because then I was talking about actually putting Sheamus into the main event at Mania with the three of them.
Yeah.
But then they got Sheamus to win the US title for Riddle, and it was like I said, it was a thank you for Sheamus's hard work, I reckon. And yeah, it was just like I said, for them, I want to see them two tag together next. I want to see like Celtic Warrior and Scottish Warrior come together and just be a dominant tag team. Just keep Drew away from the main event for a while.
Keep him away, rebirth him. Moving forward, let's talk about this Evolution. So, Evolution story I had for Evolution. This is an update. This is kind of a rumor. I don't know how credible the source is, but I'll say it. Apparently, she's going to come back as a manager. They're not comfortable with her in ring. They don't think she's ready to be in ring yet. So apparently, she's still quite green. She's doing extra lessons, or extra tuition, and the performance center to get better. But they want to bring her back as probably in a manager role. So she'll manage somebody. The early candidate for that is Angel Garza. I'm not too sure what I make of that rumor. Would you be a fan of that, or do you think do you think she should come back in ring?
That doesn't make sense to me at all. To have Angel Garza isn't the kind of person that needs a manager. I'm not even funny. If anyone needs a manager, it's a tag team. But there's no tag teams for her to manage.
Yeah,
that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know how true. I did hear it sort of somewhere else, but
yeah, like I said, if that's the way, then I said it's fun to see how these things play out. But for me personally, it doesn't sound good to me.
Let's get back onto WrestleMania Backlash then. So let's get to this. And so we've obviously got this main event, Universal title, long awaited, Roman Reigns against Cesaro. This match for me, absolutely phenomenal. I think it was really, really good. They got a good amount of time, so much sort of technical ability moments in it, like when there's so many body parts getting attacked and so much selling. Crucially, we do end up with Roman Reigns getting the guillotine choke and Cesaro passing out. What did you think of the match, and did you enjoy the result?
This match was phenomenal. Like possibly one of Roman Reigns' best matches ever. Like at some points in this match, I legitimately thought Cesaro had injured himself. That's how good his selling was in this match. But just everything, the whole Roman taunting Daniel Bryan down the lens when he was working Cesaro's arm. The top rope corkscrew plancher that Cesaro did to Roman on the outside, and just what a fantastic match, man. The pacing was great. This got like over half an hour as well, which was the biggest shock. And it was like, it's nice to see Roman Reigns actually like
in a competitive match where there's a chance he can kind of lose.
And to say to have Cesaro power out of the guillotine twice, man, it was so good, man. Like I said, when he hit that second one, he powered out of it, and then he hits the third one, and he finally gets the ref stoppage. Man, just what a match. And then so even afterwards, you had Cesaro selling it like he'd just woken up from being knocked out. Man, just what a fantastic match. So Cesaro, man, how Cesaro doesn't get a championship title in the near future, I would be shocked.
I would hopefully, if there's a draft, get him to Raw. I'd love to see him and Bobby. I think that could be a quality match if they get time to book it and stuff. Talking about this, I don't know if it's just me, but I actually feel that this Roman Reigns Universal title run is one of the greatest title runs in WWE history. Like, he's that good. Like, every single match, like the matches he had with Kevin Owens, at the Royal Rumble, incredible. The matches he had with Daniel Bryan, absolutely incredible. The match against Edge and Daniel Bryan, incredible. This is a guy that isn't normally a technical wrestler, but the amount of good work and the amount of character work and stuff, he's the best thing in WWE at the moment. It's got to be said.
Like I said when we was doing a review of Mex a couple of months back, and I turned around and said,
that was a fast lane, wasn't it?
Yeah. When does Roman Reigns ever do a Boston Crab? He pulls out a Boston Crab of all moves. Man, he's doing and this is what I mean. And you had for years WWE trying to force him down our throats as this baby face, and he's our top superstar, blah blah blah. And all you needed to do was make him heel. At some point, you will turn him baby face. But man, his heel work is just unbelievable, man. He's like I said, all I want to do is watch Roman Reigns wrestle now. And like, if you'd have said that to me a year ago that I want to see Roman Reigns wrestle, I'd have slapped you and said, "No, you're having a laugh."
Yeah, no, I agree. The rebuild is amazing. If they can pay this much attention to detail, certain other wrestlers on the roster, it'd be good. But
I'm pretty sure
credit to Roman Reigns.
I'm pretty sure this is down to Paul Heyman as well, because I think Paul Heyman's directly involved in his creative, because he's obviously his like advisor. And I think logistically, actually backstage, that it's Paul Heyman that deals with his booking and his narrative and all this kind of stuff. So if that's true, then credit to Paul Heyman, man, because he's done a fantastic
100%.
job.
Going to go to the comments. Got some great ones here. Ryan, awesome. Thanks for your comment, Ryan. Roman talking to camera to Daniel Bryan was awesome. Agreed. Even getting more heat. Martin Carrillo, this match happened on the edge of my seat. Cesaro should still be in the main event. He's just got to get better at his mic work. Great comment, Martin. I agree. This guy's got it all in ring. It's just the charisma probably part of it, but he can learn that. I think a really interesting note. I don't know if you observed this, Steve, because there was no swing and stuff. Do we think that Cesaro was going into this match maybe injured? Part of me reckons he was injured going into this match, which is why he didn't do the swing and stuff.
I don't know. This is what I mean. He's like, his selling was so convincing at some point. I really thought that he'd injured himself. Because obviously he takes that bump to the outside probably 3 or 4 minutes in, and supposedly lands on his elbow roughly, and like for the rest of the match he's selling it, like he's constantly shaking his arm out like he's got a numb arm and all this kind of stuff. But then, like I said, the only reason why I don't think it's a proper injury is because it played into certain key points, like the bit where he has Roman in a sharpshooter and he can't use the right arm, so he has to do the left arm, and then he's using his right arm to lean back and then turns it into a crossface. I don't think the injury is a legitimate injury. I just think it's amazing storytelling from Cesaro. Like, credit to that guy, because tell you what, that was amazing.
Definitely going to go to the comments just before we go into sort of what happened next. Do you guys honestly think Cesaro will get a push if he goes to Raw? Personally, don't really see it. That's the danger with Cesaro. This guy, we all know, everyone in the comments and everybody saying that Cesaro needs to be in the world title picture again and again and again. He's got this danger now of going back into obscurity, to doing nothing again, which we hope. But I think if he was on Raw, I think the Raw is that short of wrestlers at that level that he could be a star, but he probably wouldn't get pushed. You're probably right there. I can't see him beating Bobby, unfortunately, as much as I'd love it to happen. Got a good one here from West Coast Podcast. Zach, thank you for your comment. Great showing for both men. Love that the show ended with a well-paced wrestling match.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
100% agreed.
Unreal. So like I said, a 30-minute match from Roman Reigns. You'd have thought it, man. Absolutely fantastic.
Got a good one here for View Geek 3000. They rebuilt Roman fantastically, and he's so much better to watch. Great match, superb. Had me off the edge of my feet. All eyes on Cesaro, future champion. Agreed.
I struggled to take notes because I was so invested in this match. Like, I'm sitting there trying to pay attention to this match and watch it for what it was and take notes at the same time. It was so good.
Definitely going to go to got a great one here for Don Mills. That's a crucial point. It was nice to see Roman win clean for once, which it was. I agree with you. That's a great observation. Usually Jason's getting involved, but credit to Roman.
The fact that neither of the Usos got involved in it as well, it just made it even more important that the fact that Roman got this win by himself. Perfect.
We've got 2 more comments here. Ryan, awesome. It should have been Jay that took out Cesaro rather than Rollins. Agreed. I agree. I think the thing with it, that would have made total sense. Ryan, 100% agree. They are going to be building to Cesaro Rollins at Hell in a Cell. I think that's pretty clear. I think that's the sort of the route they're going down.
This event that happens afterwards, just the fact that they're continuing a story, that they actually paused their story to have Cesaro Roman, and now they're going straight back to it again. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that. Go for it. Let's sort of go into it. Still got a few more comments. I'll just get some Chris Wrestling Views. Good afternoon, Chris. Thank you for checking out the video. Hope you're well. You let us know what you thought of the pay-per-view in the comments. It'll be great to hear what you thought. Martin Carrillo, Cesaro picking up Roman whilst doing the guitar. I agree. I think that just shows sort of the strength of Cesaro with even selling an injury. Moving kind of forward then. So obviously after the match, we do end up getting after the match, you end up with Jey Uso coming out. He recognizes Roman as the head of the table. He puts the lei around his neck, and he basically looks sort of dead-eyed. Reigns angrily yells, "Let me get him." Reigns agrees. Uso then does a beat down on Cesaro, super kicks him. Uso then drags Cesaro over and climbs the top rope. And then next thing you know, we get Burn It Down. Seth Rollins comes out with another colourful suit. It's almost like it's a prom or something again, as always. It ends up with Seth Rollins coming out. You look like it's a tension between Roman Reigns and Seth. You're thinking Seth's going to attack Jay. You think Seth's going to attack Jay. And then obviously what then happens is Seth Rollins crucially beats down Cesaro. So Cesaro's arm ends up in a chair. And it then kind of ends up with just Cesaro kind of get destroyed. For me, great way to end the show. The Seth thing, I was a bit surprised that I would have rather it was Jimmy. Jimmy's the one they've been kind of building all week, like since he came back on SmackDown, that there's going to be something involved with him. But Seth Cesaro again, we saw it at WrestleMania, we saw it on SmackDown. I'm kind of done with it. It feels a bit flat. It feels like a downgrade for me for Cesaro.
I just enjoy. I'm glad that they've done this though, because at least now that you kind of know what's happening going forward, like you know that okay, all right, Cesaro's going to go back to feuding with Seth Rollins. It's fine. I haven't got to wait till Friday to find out what's going to be next for Cesaro. The interesting thing is I can see why they've removed Cesaro and not had Jay beat him down, because they're still playing this whole triangle dynamic with Roman, Jimmy, and Jay. What that's going to pay off for, I don't know. Because like I said, if you look at the SmackDown roster now, who's the next top babyface that can take him on? That can take on Roman?
There isn't anybody. That's the trouble. There is a gap because of you've got Kevin Owens that's in the Continental title race. If that makes sense.
That's something they've got 5 weeks to build someone for Hell in a Cell, and the problem is four of them are all lined up in this Intercontinental match on SmackDown. So what is it? It's Sammy, Kevin, Apollo, and Big E. So the only thing I can imagine is maybe Big E, but I think it's too early. It's too early. Yeah.
If I was booking it, you got one or two things. The obvious one to book for me is a triple threat. Let's do a triple threat: Rollins, Cesaro, and Reigns. That would be good. Maybe the Hell in a Cell element maybe puts that off a little bit, but that would be fun. Or you bring back Edge. Edge is obviously on a limited deal now, where he chooses where he wrestles. Obviously, if it's viable. But for me,
Edge has a history of Hell in a Cells as well. Obviously, facing Taker and one and all that kind of stuff. That could actually make a lot of sense coming forward.
Let's go to the comments. I've got a good one here. Chris Wrestling Views. That was the best match, much better than the match at WrestleMania. I agree. It was really, really good. Yeah. Have you got anything else to add on comments, Steve? Or
no, he's spot on, man. So a year later, and I'm saying I want to watch Roman Reigns wrestle. Just shocked, man.
I know you're still in shock. I almost as shocked as me.
Yeah, just amazing.
West Coast Popcast. Thank you, comment, Zach. See how good a match can be with 90 super kicks without 90 super kicks and blood. Yeah. I agree. I usually want color in matches, but we don't need 90 super kicks.
Ziggler got a bit of color in their tag match. He busted his forehead open, so there was a tiny bit there for you.
Dom Mills have a great one as well. Thank you, comment, Dom. Cesaro's great, but I still prefer him as a heel.
Yeah, his heel work with Sheamus in the tag team was great.
His heel work is good, but then the problem is he's very much got the Kofi Kingston push behind him. All of us want him to get the belt, which is a story. If they're very clever, they'd give him the Money in the Bank briefcase and then do a slow build for him to get cashing in on either brand. That's what I'd like to see, really.
Yeah, so now that they've flipped the calendar around and Money in the Bank's going to be in July, I think it's going to throw certain things out of whack. Like, because if you was saying Money in the Bank was next, you'd have been like, right, okay, well, Roman doesn't have to fight on this pay-per-view because it's Money in the Bank. So you could have Bobby defend again on Money in the Bank, and then you can have your 6 men for the men's championship, 6 women for a women's championship. But flipping the calendar around it's going to throw this out of whack. And where it goes, I say they got 5 weeks to try and find someone for Roman to fight, because I said Money in the Bank he wouldn't have needed to have a match.
Putting out this, are we going to see Roman versus Jimmy? That's kind of the way I'm getting the impression I'm getting based on what they're building on SmackDown and the pre-show on this show and parts of the show.
Yeah, they probably are going to do it at some point, and whether they do it and it ends up that Jimmy gets such a beat down that he then becomes like the left-hand man to Roman's right-hand man, or if it ends up with Jay turning on Roman and then just going their separate ways, and then going back to being the Usos, and then having Roman Reigns as just his own person. But I can see it happening. I think
it'd be a great match. I think if you put Jimmy in there as well, 100%. I think it will tell a great story. Even if Jimmy hasn't got a chance of winning the belt, it's still a great story. It's one of the great story arcs they're building on SmackDown.
Especially with the fact that you had Jimmy saying that I would have never have tapped out to Roman, like comparing himself to Jay, who obviously like he did, and it was like, yeah, that's probably going to be it going forward. But I think Hell in a Cell was the wrong kind of match for them to. That's probably going to be like a SmackDown match, because I can't see a logistical way to book it for a pay-per-view.
Do you know, I heard an interesting story. Apparently, they're going to try and get Seth Rollins and Roman for SummerSlam. I don't know how that's going to happen based on what we did last night. I don't know where Seth Rollins is going to turn babyface or how that's going to happen. That's something they're going to do, though, based on the Shield dynamic, I think.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you're going to do it, why have they just put him straight back with Cesaro?
I think it's just to fill it. I think it's just to fill time. Like, I think it's to create a Hell in a Cell match, because that's probably why, more than anything, really.
Maybe Cesaro wins Money in the Bank. We get Seth versus Roman, and Cesaro cashes in at SummerSlam.
That's the way Roman loses the belt of cash in, I think. I don't see him
100%,
in a one-on-one match by any imagination.
Yeah, exactly. That, or it's got to be like a complete, like a 4-on-1, like a 4-way or a 6-way or something like that. But yeah, like I said, if they got Seth versus Roman for SummerSlam, have Cesaro win Money in the Bank, and do how Seth did at Mania and cash in.
That'd be fun. Imagine that. That'd be a great story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, man.
Look forward to it. Hope it happens. Yeah. Going to go to the comments here. Got Graham Martin, Corilla. Thank you for coming, Martin. Where are all the SmackDown baby faces? Nakamura, maybe. All the SmackDown baby faces are kind of chasing Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Basically, I think. But that's going to be a great match on this week's SmackDown. I'm excited. I thought we'd get it on this show, but I think I'm really excited for it. Are you?
What's that? Nakamura or Corbin?
Oh, no, not Nakamura. Oh, yeah. Kind of 4-way.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. Like, it's yes, you're disappointed it's not on a pay-per-view, but let's be honest, you've now got a reason to watch SmackDown even more than you already did. The fact that they're going to have a fatal 4-way for the IC title between 4 equally good wrestlers, yeah, man, it makes must-watch TV. It's just a shame Raw can't book this kind of stuff.
I think Raw was okay last week. It's better, definitely. Going to go to the comments. We'll continue. Chris Wrestling Views. I believe soon that Rollins will attack Jey Uso and Roman may think Jimmy did it. I guess it will happen. I guess that's a good way to create this tension of who did what. It's not a bad shout. I could see that happening. Thanks for the comment, Chris. I enjoy it. Ed Fries. Hey, Jonesy. Hope all well. Good show last night. Thank you very much for checking out Stream Edge. I hope you're well. And yeah, the show last night was phenomenal. We're going to rate the show in a minute. Yeah, really, really good show. You can tell it's going to be a high rating based on how we're talking about it. Playing references here. Martin Carrillo. If it's Jimmy versus Reigns at Hell in a Cell, it will circle back around. If you take a look at it, yeah, I guess it will take a full circle, because obviously last year in Hell in a Cell, Jimmy got beaten down by Roman, didn't he?
Yeah, it's
true. And he went missing for a while to sell the injury, basically.
Injured knee, didn't he? So he was out with a knee injury.
Very good comment here as well. Dom Mills, thank you, comment, Dom. I think eventually Jay leaves Roman to line back with Jimmy. Yeah. I think the Usos have got to cost Roman the belt if it's not the money about briefcase, as we said already with this. And Ed Fries, thank you, comment, Ed, again. You don't need a face versus heel versus Seth and Roman. The two characters are strong enough to live above heel and face dynamics. Yeah, I guess if Seth's been built right, he's not got these silly suits, and he's sort of not just underbooked very well. This guy doesn't really win matches, though. If we're getting back to the Seth we know, with sort of, he's already got the theme music there. It's getting back to the stuff. He's always been good in ring. It's just the silly Messiah gimmicks that have kind of gone down.
Yeah, he needs to be booked better. Like I said, he just needs to get, I know he's not been on TV for a while because obviously the birth of his child and stuff like that. But they just need to have an interesting dynamic for him going forward, because at the minute, he's just feuding with Cesaro. So when SummerSlam's 3 months away, so yeah, maybe by that time it could be all changed, and like the dynamic for Seth can be different. It's getting to that point, which is what you got to hope that they book correctly.
Definitely. Chris Wrestling Views, who everyone thinks will win the title this Friday. That's the Intercontinental title. For me, I think Apollo has to retain. Yeah. I think if he doesn't win, he's not had the belt long. And his gimmick on SmackDown is so good. It's one of my favourite parts of SmackDown. He's comedy gold. I'm really enjoying it. What do you think, Steve? Who's your prediction?
Yeah, Apollo as well, man. Like I said, I think this is now going to be the start of Big E moving away from the Intercontinental title scene, because he's had 2 matches for like he said, he lost the match. He's had hasn't he had a one-on-one title rematch?
He won the match at Fastlane. He won the match by roll up. Then he lost the match at WrestleMania. Commander Aziz coming in, and then obviously they're now got this match this coming week, which I think will just end the feud basically.
I think this is Big E's now time to sort of move up to the main event scene. I just want to know where Kevin and Sammy are going, because I think the world of Kevin, and I want Kevin to be champion, and I just hope they do something decent with him.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, just say Apollo.
So let's score this show then. So out of 10, I'm going to go out of 10. For me, it's a 9 out of 10 show. It's probably pay-per-view of the year. It felt really, really good. It was a good length, 3 hours. Every match had a purpose, and it's really, really good. Although every match was kind of predictable, I think the in-ring action, it was better than WrestleMania for me. I just can't fault it. I think there's nothing I could criticize WWE. Even the zombie thing doesn't like make me hate. Doesn't sort of make me want to hate the show. It's such a good show. What's your favorite thoughts and score of the show?
Man, I'd have to go with a 9 as well. Like I said, the only reason it doesn't get a 10 is because just say the results were predictable. Like if you'd have had Cesaro win that main event and pick up that title, I would be saying 10, 100%. But just for the pure fact that say everyone knew the results, but the show itself, the wrestling. I mean, I love the zombie thing, but yeah, for me, it's a 9, man. It's shocking to see a really good pay-per-view from start to finish that involves SmackDown and Raw. The NXT we know is great, and they do great things on takeovers, but a SmackDown and Raw-based pay-per-view, just phenomenal, man. Yeah,
this was a SmackDown and Raw version of NXT, wasn't it? Takeover. Yeah, this was takeover level.
Yeah, and I just like I was saying to you before we started, this at the minute, this is pay-per-view of the year for WWE.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to quickly kind of go to the comments. We've obviously got quite a few viewers. Thank you very much for your views and comments. Please give us a thumbs up on the channel if you can. It will really help the algorithm and stuff like that, boring stuff like that, but it will really help. Really appreciate your comments. It's been great and engaging to answer all your questions. Going to go to a few more we got here before we end the show. Richard here. Hi, guys. Liking the views. Good work. How would you call up Adam Cole? And if you can make a new faction from people not being used by WWE, who would you choose? Do you want that first or do you want me to take that?
No, you go while I'll have a think.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay, so let's break your question down into 2 parts. So how would you call Adam Cole up? Adam Cole from...
I was going to say, I originally had Adam Cole joining the Hurt Business as a replacement for Shelton and Cedric, and him being sort of like Harry debuted in NXT. That was my Adam Cole debut, but that ain't going to happen now.
No, my Adam Cole idea was involving WrestleMania 35. I had him sort of being unveiled as part of a stable with Edge and a few others. As Bailey was in it as well. But in terms of calling up now, based on the question you've had, for me, if you're going to call him up, I'd like to see him come up and sort of them have a mystery spot in the Money in the Bank briefcase. I'd love to see him come up. This guy, if he comes up, needs to come up and start at the top, really. He doesn't want to start mid of the card. The only thing that's going to hold him back is his size, I think. The fact that he's not sort of the size of Sheamus, the size of Braun will probably be holding him back.
The only reason I conflict that is because when he came into NXT, he attacked Drew McIntyre, held up the NXT championship, but the first title we ever won was a North American in a ladder match. So the only reason why I'll conflict that a little bit, because but I know what you mean. Adam Cole 100% deserves to be in on top of the show. But yeah, it's a good way to do it as a mystery man in the Money in the Bank. You can see it happening. But as for a faction, though, I'm trying to think who they're not currently using.
I've got one. So if you could book a faction, let's just say we can use people. I don't know whether this will work, but what I would like to see, Keith Lee's the first. We need to get this guy back to what he was. Dijakovic is another one that's not doing anything, so we could do Keith Lee, Dijakovic. I think you could also like to see Ricochet. I know we've seen him a bit. He was on the pay-per-view, yes, but that's his first appearance, probably on TV other than main events. That's free. And I think the fourth one, I'd have to say, that's not being used. I quite like Ali, really. I think them four together could be good. Perhaps we could do like a version of the Diamond Mine that they're probably maybe some upstart stable, but what do you think? Who's your stable? It's a hard question. Great question, Richard. By the way.
It is
on the spot.
It is a hard one because there's so much talent not being used, but then it's trying to find a way to book it all in so that how
it makes sense. You need to really kind of think about it.
Yeah, like I said when we used in a review with Steve last week on Raw, and I said put Ricochet and Keith Lee together because the fact that Keith Lee can do like sort of a lot of what Ricochet can do. The fact that you've got a big guy and a little guy that can both do essentially cruiserweight moves, I think is a fantastic dynamic. Ali, Retribution's killed me with Ali at the minute, putting him in a stable. What
about the hacker again? Would you like to see him as a hacker again, or
not really?
I like the intrigue of it, but it just obviously they never kind of paid it off. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just thinking he needs a faction. Like if you'd still had who was the big tag team that got released? The two big guys.
The Ascension.
No. They used to have a manager, and they dropped him on the first night of Raw.
Oh yeah, Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain, wasn't it?
You had Ali with
Aiken and Razor.
Yeah, if they were still in there, and you had them two together, that would make a great faction because you got to say just Ali who can talk, he can wrestle, and then you give him two big guys to back him up. It'd be interesting. Like I said, yeah, it's really hard because the way they've booked them recently in months, it's really hard to sort of merge them together in a faction. But yeah, I'd say Keith Lee.
What a question, though. Thank you for the question, Richard. Got it. I feel like I haven't done it justice, but it's a great question. Yeah. Appreciate checking out the video. Thank you very much.
If you'd give me an hour, I could have thought of something
probably.
A lot better.
Money 2 hours, maybe. Now we know the stress that WWE Raw writing team goes for every Monday night. I kind of a bit sympathetic, that's for sure. least we ain't got Vince McMahon coming behind us ripping it up, that's for sure. Let's move forward. Chris Wrestling Views, thank you for your comment. I'm ready for the Usos to come back as a tag team again, but I hope the show will stay good even when Roman loses the title. For me, great point. The Usos coming back. I don't know, sort of based on what they're building and stuff, because the Usos are so near the main event with Roman. I think they're maybe too good for the tag team division. They've gone beyond that stage. What do you think of the comments, Steve? Anything you want to add?
I want to see the Usos back as a tag team just because I remember their Hell in a Cell match with the New Day. One of the best matches I've seen in a long time on a pay-per-view for tag team wrestling. But I don't think Roman's going to lose this title until his opponent for Mania is going to be set.
Yeah, so we got a question about that, funny enough.
So yeah,
it's one of our next 2 points.
Bring it up, man, and I'll go into it after.
Yeah, okay, no problem. I'm going to get this next comment. Martin Carrillo, how would the fans get behind Seth being a babyface again? It backfired 2 years ago. The only way they're going to get behind the fans can get behind him as a babyface. There's one obvious answer that screams to me that might work is Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is a babyface. It's his girlfriend. That's only the kind of way you're going to get people cheering. The only other way is if he does like a save or something. If you say somebody that's being beaten down 3-1 by Roman, maybe. But it's a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work to get fans to cheer him again. Ever since he had that feud with the Fiend, he's never really kind of recovered, in my opinion. In all honesty, what do you want to add to that, Steve? Anything?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, yeah, it's just a shame that they're like. This embrace the vision gimmicks never paid off, and the stuff that he was doing with Buddy Murphy's never paid off. Like we was expecting like a Buddy Murphy babyface turn on Seth months ago. I think, saying months ago, this was Mania last year, and he ended up just paying off with an eye for an eye match with Rey Mysterio, and it was just it was just terrible. I don't think they're going to struggle with Seth because Seth's great as baby or face. It's just finding the right point to turn him back to a face. I think it needs to get to a point where he's got so much heel heat that when they book it right, it will be amazing.
Going to get to the last few points of the last few comments. We're going to end the video shortly, so thank you very much for all your comments and stuff like that, and just tuning in. It's been really great to have the support. It's been really a good buzz. Great to hear what everyone's thought, but thank you so much for all your comments and stuff. Really kind of enjoyed it. It's great to see so much engagement. It really makes this channel worthwhile. Otherwise, it would just be us talking to ourselves. So really appreciate it. Got a good one here, relevant to what we were just talking about. Review Geek 3000. Are we going to see Roman still champ next Mania?
This is what I mean. I don't think so. I mean, if they're planning on, is it Hollywood next year for Mania?
Yeah, it's the TNT Stadium. It's 80,000 people, apparently.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's LA, isn't it? It's Los Angeles. Yeah. I think, right. I think so. Yeah, if they're planning on doing Rock Roman, this is the year to do it.
Of course it is, yeah.
So, yeah, Roman's not, I don't reckon Roman's going to lose that title until, so there's, like I said, the Money in the Bank that costs him, which ends up leading into his next feud for Mania. But yeah, it's going to be,
I don't see Roman losing to Rock at Mania because I can't see Rock coming back for a program. I think Rock's coming back for one night, basically.
They need to take that title off of Roman before they go into Mania. So, yeah, that's the only way he's going to lose it is just building up to that match.
I won't want to guess who's going to get it either. It's impossible to see who's going to get it unless we're going to get somebody move across from Raw, maybe a Drew McIntyre or something. But I don't know. It'd take a lot of rebuilding on Drew's part to try and get the belt.
Isn't there a draft coming up soon? Well, isn't that due?
Probably will be.
I think that's after SummerSlam, I think.
Oh, okay. Never know. Just going to get to the last comments just before we end the show. Martin Carrillo, a lesser card gives better matches, more depth and time. 100% agree. Great point. I think the fact that they've got 3 hours there, every match had enough time and every match was able to tell a story. Really, really good really good card, WWE. Please do this every single month. You know what I mean? I think this is night and day above what we saw at the early part of this year. Credit to WWE.
Yeah, 100%. I say a 30-minute main event for Roman Reigns. I was blown away by that alone.
Definitely. Ryan Awesome offers a pain of release. Thank you for letting us know. We didn't appreciate that, Ryan. It's a shame they were released. I know one of them got injured and they never kind of recovered after that. The mistake they made with Offers of Pain, in my opinion, was getting rid of Paul Ellering the night they came up because they couldn't talk. So in fact, you had nobody there really kind of talking from that, but that was the problem, really.
And then they tried to put him with Seth Rollins and it was working for a while until one.
I remember that.
And so, that was a good dynamic for him. But yeah, it's just a shame. But yeah.
Oh, Don Mills with a great comment here. Thank you, comment, Dom. This has to end up Jimmy versus Jay, or the Usos are reunited. Yeah, I'd agree. It's one of them things, one or the other, really. I don't know how soon they'll do it. That's a big storyline.
Yeah, the only thing is the Usos are so good as a tag team that would you want them to have a feud that splits them up for a long period of time? Bearing in mind, they've not tagged in nearly a year now because one of them's been injured. So yeah, it's hard to call that one.
Definitely. Just going to go to the last comment we've got here. Review Geek 3000, night for me as well. Great show. Thank you very much for your comment. Really enjoyed your points and thank you for checking out the stream. That's kind of it from us. Have you got anything else you want to add, Steve, just before we end the video today?
No, just to say I'm doing the NXT review this week and I've also got 5 NXT superstars who I feel would benefit joining the main roster currently as it stands.
That should be good. Looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, Steve, listen, I thank you so much for doing this show. That's it from here. Really kind of enjoyed your opinion. As always, thank you for tuning in. Stay well, be safe. Thank you for all the support. I'll be back obviously tomorrow to cover Raw, probably similar time, probably about 4:30. That'll be from Steve from SCW. Please tune in. As always, please hit the thumbs up on the way out and subscribe if you haven't already. We are on the way to 140 subs. It would mean the world to get there to 140 by Money in the Bank, ideally. We just want to sort of try and get the channel up as much as possible. We couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you very much for your comments. It makes it fun. I'm glad to hear that you've enjoyed the pay-per-view. And as always, let us know in the comments after if there's anything you want to sort of cover on future videos. Going to go to the last comment in the night. West Coast Popcast, I've got it in there. Everyone who hasn't already, please check out Zach's channel. Really, really good. They make some great content. Play games and stuff like Resident Evil. It's definitely worth a watch. Roman will keep it until after next Mania in Texas and then lose it. He'll then face Rock without the title here in LA in 2 years. You blokes should find and join us. Did I use blokes correctly, Zach? Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. If we find the money, I would, man.
Yeah, if only, definitely. If coronavirus isn't around, you never know. But thank you very much anyway. And this has been Jonesy Chats Wrestling. I've been Jonesy, joined by Steve, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you for watching.